Hi, Chester Gross here. We're going to be talking about a book called Jim and Casper Go to Church. It's written by a man named Matt Henderson, who's been a pastor for numerous years in the Seattle region, and an atheist named Matt Casper. Jim hired Matt to travel with him throughout the U.S. and look at a number of churches and get a perspective of what does church look like from an unbeliever's perspective. And so the churches that they went to was Saddleback in LA with Rick Warren, Dream Center in LA. They also went to Willow Creek, First Presbyterian Church in Chicago, Lawndale Church in Chicago, Imago Deo, and also Mars Hill in the Seattle region, the Bridge Church out of Portland, Lakewood in Houston, and Potter's House with T.D. Jakes in Dallas. And these particular churches were churches they picked that were kind of a variety of some bigger churches, Potter's House and Lakewood or Saddleback, they're all huge, huge churches. But they also went to some mid-sized churches also. The reason why I really like the book is, as a pastor, you're not going to learn any leadership principles. You're not really even going to learn how to have church. But what you're going to learn is how does this unbeliever, an atheist in Matt's case, perceive what we do in church? How do we reach somebody that walks in off the street, comes into our service for the first time, and has no clue what Christianity looks like? What do we look like to them? How can we begin to reach them through what we do? I don't know if I found any great answers to this. I think what it did for me most was to make me aware of what an unbeliever thinks when they walk in. And we sing songs that they don't understand. We talk about things they don't understand. And one of the questions that Matt kept asking Jim Henderson was, is this what Jesus told you guys to do? The way we do church, the way we sing, and in the different churches they went to, some of them had professional singers that was like going to a rock concert. Others had different types of worship. The Presbyterian church was totally different than going to Saddleback and so on. So there were a variety of different styles. And one of the things that was mentioned in the book was how these worship styles and some of the songs had no meaning to an unbeliever because the words just didn't make sense. Years ago, I read an article, I don't even remember who wrote it now, but it was called "They All Speak in Tongues." And it wasn't talking about the gift of tongues or any of that. It was specifically talking about how we use terms like, we're fired up for Jesus, and, just silly terms like that, things that we use in church. And that was one of the things that Matt the atheist brought out in his thoughts was that, I don't understand what they mean by some of this. So again, would I change the way I talk in church? Probably not. But does it make me aware of how to be a little bit more sensitive if I know there's some unbelievers in the room that have come into my service and I'm trying to reach them and point them towards an altar call that brings Jesus into their life and focus. And so it does help you with that. And so as you look at this blog, I'd love to hear back from you and see what you think about it. And if you've read the book or haven't read the book, I encourage you to pick it up and read it just for the sake of getting some perspective. And we'll be looking at some other books as we go, but this is one I think you'd find a good read.